Hey everybody, it's Rick with a fancy new setup here. The reason this is happening is because in northern Canada, it's pretty much winter already, which means that the sun sets essentially by the time I get home from work, which means I'm not going to be able to film in daylight until like May. So I had to figure out another room in my house to do some filming in, and this is the room that my wife uses to study. So everything you see behind me is her handiwork. I don't have this artistic bent to me at all. So if you think this looks interesting, don't give me any of the credit because it's not mine. But all that is beside the point because today we need to talk about Sheba Blake Publishing and the worst period covers period ever. Period. Before I go on, I just need to clarify that this isn't exactly my idea. Caustic Covers on Twitter, I'll put links to the thread down below, brought up this concept of Sheba Blake Publishing and the covers that they've put out. Just a thread of the most ridiculous book covers you've ever seen in your goddamn life. And it's getting a decent amount of attention, but I feel like we need to talk about it a little more in depth because it's the best, worst book content I've seen in years. So I've done a little bit of digging, and as far as I can tell, Sheba Blake Publishing exclusively makes journals now. So I don't even know if they're actively making these books anymore, which is probably better for everybody, or maybe worse for everybody, because this content is so bad, it's so good. I can't wait to talk. Ugh. Let's just talk about it. So basically all this video is going to be is me showing you a couple of dozen of their books, some of the most famous books of all time, just to prove how their art director must have been like high on methamphetamines while they were putting this thing together. I can't stress just how bad and insane and incorrect these covers are. This is the best. Okay. Let's just start. So Caustic Covers started the thread with this cover, which is somehow one of the least insane of this whole bunch. For some reason, there is a globe made out of a baby's head. And to make matters even weirder, I think the baby has Africa and Europe on like one side of its face, but for some reason, the other half of its face is completely clear. I don't know why that bothers me. Like, if you're gonna go off the deep end, go all the way off the deep end. Like, what does it mean? Like, I'm weirdly just so intrigued by the choice just to have it on one side of this baby's face. Like, I wish the book could tell me the answer, but of course it doesn't, because this has nothing to do with this book. Then we have three men in a boat, which inexplicably has three boats and no men. Then we've got the Lost World with a toy dinosaur, like the least threatening version of this story you could possibly physically come up with. The Call of the Wild, which features a lion in a book that very famously features a dog and a pack of wolves. Then we have Little Women, which for some reason is given an Asian dictator treatment. But, you know, in their defense, this little girl does like scream Joe March. I mean, she's at least holding a book. The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire has a cover that's at least a couple of centuries too late. But on a positive note, I had no idea that the fall of the largest political system in history was so, like, fun and flirty. I weirdly love it. Like, happiness is a state of mind, right? No? No? Then we have The Secret Agent by Joseph Conrad. Now, this is a book I know nothing about, but I'm sure as hell it's not fucking this. Like, I'm pretty skeptical that Conrad created Bishop from the X-Men. Next, we have a collection of books that clearly shows off just how much random female fashion art that Sheba Blake just had, like, lying around, I assume? Okay, let's play a little game here. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, come on, keep them closed. And tell me the first thing that comes to mind when I say The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I can't tell you what you pictured, but you know what I can tell you? That it wasn't a woman putting on eyeliner. Like, what is this? Why is that the one image you would want to pick for The Hunchback of Notre Dame? Oh my God. This makes no sense, and it's getting so much worse. You know, in all fairness, I did learn a few things. I didn't actually read this book, so it's kind of cool that I now know that Wuthering Heights is like a famous noir crime drama. And Emily Bronte was apparently Raymond Carver's pseudonym, so that's a fun little bit of trivia for you. Next, we have the incomprehensibly futuristic covers. I would bet you didn't know that Winesburg, Ohio takes place in one of those weird ships that they fly to Pandora on in Avatar, or that A Man of Means is actually a Dune prequel, or that Jack Worthing from The Importance of Being Earnest is actually like the original YA urban fantasy bad boy. I mean, just look at this. There's like a huge moon in the background, and then there's also like the same moon magically like imprinted on his hand. Why? Why would you use this for this? Why? I love it. Oh my God. I love it so much. This next one, I have to be honest. I don't know what this book is. I've never heard of it. So it might be more accurate than I think. It's The Private Memoirs and the Confessions of a Justified Sinner by James Hogg. But I will bet you $1 million that the book is not about some sloppy, saliva-soaked alien on the run with like Earth's premier stripper. Turn of the Screw makes, no sense whatsoever. Clearly, this is like the 27th century or some shit. And yet this guy is holding like an extremely modern looking briefcase. And then you have this like seating area here, which is placed, if you look for it, directly in front of a stairwell, which for all intents and purposes has now been rendered completely useless. If you can believe it, we're not even halfway through all the books I want to show you. The picture of Dorian Gray makes no fucking sense. Meanwhile, the sign of 4 looks like manga when it's actually a Sherlock Holmes story that takes place during the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Somehow a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court is like the most accurate cover that they have, even though it's still not accurate at all. And if you can believe it, it only gets worse from here. The Hounds of the Baskervilles is apparently a John Carter from Mars spinoff. Machiavelli's The Prince is basically a David Bowie away from being a complete Labyrinth ripoff. And evidently the house mentioned in Edith Wharton's House of Mirth is located in like, I don't know, South America somewhere? The Diary of a Nobody is coming after some kind of a future Jesus and Hard. The Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin seems to think that the former founding father's claim to fame was playing the role of Bassanio in The Merchant of Venice. A Short History of England doesn't even try. They literally use art from The Lord of the Rings. Like, everybody knows this. Oh my God, I love these guys so much. Like, they're just like, they don't give a fuck. It's the most amazing thing. They're my favorite publisher on earth. I can't believe this is real and these books exist. I will put links to their books on Amazon that are available right now. I hate Amazon. I don't want you to shop with them. I just want to prove to you that these are real and you can actually go out and buy these things. They also have the most eye-opening version of the future you'll ever hope to see, or maybe not hope to see, with like centaur Pegasus men flying through the air having sex with regular-ass human women. If she falls, she dies. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. We have Flatland, which is famously a story about two-dimensional characters in a two-dimensional world, like circles and squares are running around, which has been recast in like Mordor, maybe? And then The Count of Monte Cristo, which is like a definite hot take on this material. We've got a blue man with no arms and a candle for a head. He's dealing with like a sad man with like a weird devil creature on his shoulder, a huge spike coming out of his back, and then like a drawer coming out of his hip, it seems. What's going on in the background just doesn't even matter at this point, considering how fucked up the foreground is. Apparently, War of the Worlds takes place in hell. One of the witches in The Wizard of Oz has like TVs inside of her cloak. Moby Dick takes place in Lake Louise. And apparently, the lasting image we should all have of Hamlet is not a young man holding a skull, but a young woman holding a fish. Thank you so much, Sheba Blake Publishing. 2020 has been an absolute hellscape. I really, really needed a laugh, and this absolutely gave it to me. I've been laughing all day at this. Your work is astounding in just like the fucking worst way possible. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had some laughs along with me today. My name is Rick, and I will see you soon. Bye.